I firmly believe that the greatness of a city lies within its people, which is what makes Busan the greatest city to live in. Global City Busan, we are in it together. This campaign was brought to you by BFM Busan 연구방송.
The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어방송.
아직 어렵게 느껴지는 영어. 아이들 영어는 어떻게 챙기시나요? 부산 영어방송이 준비한 어린이 영어 콘텐츠 세상. BFM 키즈 영상 채널이 여러분을 찾아갑니다. 샘 해밍턴과 윌 벤저스 그리고 모모랜드 낸시가 함께하는 BFM 키즈에서 영어로 듣는 부산 설화와 전래동화, 재밌는 파닉스 영어, 신나는 K-팝 영어까지 만나보세요. 우리 아이의 영어 실력과 창의력을 쑥쑥 키워줄 특별한 어린이 영어 채널 BFM 키즈가 여러분을 기다립니다. 지금 바로 BFM 키즈를 검색하고 구독해주세요.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Easter Sunday. For those who celebrate it, it was yesterday, and in the religious context, it's one of the most important days for Christians around the world. But even without the religious context, Easter signifies things like renewal, new beginnings, and the arrival of spring. It's a time to celebrate nature's rebirth and maybe enjoy some family gatherings and share traditions like decorating eggs and, bunnies and all that. Well, it is meant to offer a little bit of hope as we spring into spring. So how's your spring going so far? I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, April 6th on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, everybody. I hope you had an amazing weekend, whether you spent it indoors. But I do hope you had some time to go outdoors to really enjoy the spring flowers in full bloom. With the air, it is definitely warmer, and it's just a great season to be outdoors. So for those of you who do mark Easter, whether it's yesterday in Korea or today all around the world, yes, do your thing. I know people are really into, maybe decorating the eggs or going on Easter egg hunt, stuff like that. Well, here in Korea, we definitely see more people in hiking gear out and about, and there are lines of cars milling about the national parks. And in recent years, this nature-seeking crowd has become more diversified, from the middle-aged to elderly Koreans to, yes, young people as well, and even foreign visitors. And thanks to South Korea's geography, that puts mountains right inside or just on the outskirts of major cities like our city, Busan, or Seoul, the K-hiking experience has become a must for many visitors. So amidst this, the issue of charging admissions to national parks has surfaced. The vast majority of national heritage sites, including museums and national parks, are free to both Korean citizens and foreign nationals alike. Well, last year, the number of visitors, the total number to South Korea's 22 national parks came to 43.3 million people. And this included a little over 2 million foreign visitors. And some within the tourism industry say that South Korea is being a little too generous for not charging admissions to these sites. Well, let's look to other countries for comparison. The U.S. started charging an extra $100 to non-resident status for nationals at 11 of its major national parks on top of the per vehicle charge. So once again, that's an extra $100. Japan, European countries, they're also charging to enter such sites. And this is natural as it costs money to maintain and manage these sites. And the more people there are, the more upkeep all of this requires. So one official from a European Tourism Bureau said that there is a huge difference between welcoming tourists and providing access to top national assets, but at no cost. That is the issue. And so this becomes a sustainability issue for the tourism industry if such management costs only come from taxpayer money. So, of course, this issue will require thought, input, plus deliberation. But, it is food for thought as we enjoy the best of this season. So just putting it out there, other countries are doing it. So, we might see this in Korea as well. All right, now it's time for a text topic. So are you ready? Here we go. Monday morning text topic time. What time constitutes sleeping in for you? Did you sleep in this weekend? 자, 내 기준 주말 늦잠 몇 시까지인가요? 자, 이번 주말 몇 시까지 늦잠 자셨는지. So sleeping in. By the way, it's all relative. It's seriously a case-by-case kind of thing because every person, their biorhythm, their clock is different. Some people, they get up at the same time every single day, 7 days a week. Other people, they really enjoy their days off. So let me know. Send in your messages to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM, 부산 영어 방송, to find our channel. You can subscribe, log in, chat with other waivers. From your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on Kakao Talk. So go to that, talk, type in BEFM. 부산 영어 방송 to find our account first, add us as a friend, and then you can send in your messages and photos too. And by the way, if you went anywhere and you want to send in photos of spring, because that's what we're talking about, and being outdoors, maybe you went to a national park this past weekend, you're welcome to send in those photos as well. All right, the ways you can tune into our show, Morning Wave in Busan, on the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM. We are streaming live on YouTube right now. Come check us out. We're also available on the BEFM app and Patbang app as well. It is Monday, so here's the lineup. It goes like this today. Now in Busan with Chian. Haley with top stories. That's in hour number 1. We have Waggle Waggle Tea Time in hour number 2. Vasana is coming in for a profile check. We have news in depth. Chian's going to join us again in hour number 2. Our special interview today. We're going to break down what's happening with this war, this expanding war with Iran. And I know there's been a lot of news with U.S. President, Donald Trump announcing certain things. And then there have been extensions, we'll say. So let's get the lowdown on what is happening. That's coming up in hour number 2 with our expert. In the meantime, I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:06 and this is News Overview. President says extra budget won't burden local treasury. President Lee Jae-myung has rejected claims that the government's cash handouts to 70% of the population earmarked in the supplementary budget would increase the financial burden on local governments. Global banks raise South Korea's inflation outlook. Major global investment banks have raised their inflation outlooks for South Korea by an average of 2.4%, citing risks and uncertainties from the Middle East crisis. South Korea restarts operation of Kori-2 nuclear reactor. South Korea restarted the Kori-2 reactor in Busan on Saturday, 3 years after the suspension for safety checks and facility improvement, according to the country's nuclear reactor operator. Seoul City's differing circumstances after Japan-linked vessels pass Horu무즈. The foreign ministry said yesterday that the ships stranded in the Strait of Horu무즈 and their associated countries face differing circumstances after 2 Japan-linked vessels passed through the vital waterway. Iran opens Strait of Horu무즈 to select ships. Trump ramps up threats. Iran appears to have begun selectively allowing certain ships, including those carrying humanitarian and essential goods, as well as Iraqi ships, to pass through the Strait of Horu무즈, as U.S. President Donald Trump wrote an expletive-laden post threatening Iran to reopen the strait. This was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Jian in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
It's
It
Monday.
is. Yes, it's Monday. Hey, so in terms of sleeping in, do you sleep in?
Yes, definitely.
So what time do you wake up on the weekend?
Especially on the weekends, I try not to, but I wake up afternoon.
Oh, in the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
What time
Yes.
do you usually go to bed the night before?
It depends, but no matter what time I go to bed, I think I tend to wake up a little late on the weekends to catch up all those sleep that I'm
Yeah, to
lacking.
recharge, right? Yes.
To recharge.
It's definitely important, though, getting ample sleep because you want to feel fresh on Monday, right?
Right.
Ah, okay,
to be
okay.
fully recharged. Yes.
Thanks for sharing. We're going to jump into our first bit of local news. The first one is about the Ga덕do New Airport project. So
Yes.
there's an update related to compensation for local fishermen. So what's happening?
That's right. Gyeongnam Province has officially begun the process of assessing and compensating for fishing industry damage linked to the construction of the Gadeokdo New Airport. Last Friday on the 3rd, the Gadeokdo New Airport Construction Authority signed an agreement with Gyeongnam Province, Busan City, and the Korea Rural Community Corporation to delegate the investigation and compensation procedures.
Right, and so this airport is being built in Busan. Why is Gyeongnam so heavily involved?
That's because the impact is not limited to Busan. Although the airport is being constructed in Gangseok district in Busan, the surrounding waters affected by the project extend across both Busan and Gyeongnam regions.
Sure.
According to the province, out of 6,081 compensation cases identified through impact assessments, 4,516 fall under Gyeongnam's jurisdiction, meaning a significant portion of the damage is actually concentrated in Gyeongnam.
Yes. So this is more of a shared regional issue then, right?
Yes, the project may be located in Busan, but its environmental and economic impact, especially on fisheries, is regional.
Yes.
That's why authorities are splitting responsibilities, aiming to ensure a more efficient and coordinated compensation process as the airport moves toward its planned opening in 2035.
Right. So this is, of course, going to be vital, not just to Busan once again, but the surrounding area as well.
Yes.
Next up, let's talk about this. Concerns about trash bags running out in some areas. What did the city find?
Busan city officials visited a storage facility in Suyeong-gu district last Friday on April 3rd to check inventory and distribution firsthand.
Okay.
The inspection confirmed that there is no actual shortage of standard garbage bags and that local districts have secured at least a 1-year supply.
Well, I have a question because maybe not in this district, but I went to a certain big mart and they were like, oh, we're out of bags. I was like, completely not even one. They had no bags.
Oh,
so
wow.
question, why are some places running out?
So they found that the issue was caused by temporary buying surges at certain retail locations like supermarkets or convenience stores.
Right.
In other words, it wasn't a supply problem overall, but rather a short-term imbalance between supply and demand at specific points of sale.
Okay. So what's the city doing about this?
Busan plans to speed up distribution from its stockpiles to stores, making sure supplies are quickly replenished where shortages occurred. The city also emphasized that there's no need for panic buying as supply remains stable overall.
Yes, I wish we could spread the word. Stop panic buying, people. All right, let's move on. Busan is launching this new initiative focused on jobs for people with disabilities. So what is this project about?
Busan City is unveiling the B-일사천리 project, a new initiative aimed at creating sustainable, high-quality jobs for people with disabilities. At the Vision Declaration ceremony held on the 3rd, the city outlined its goal of ensuring that more people with disabilities can access meaningful employment while also launching a public-private task force called 일사천리단.
So what role will this task force play?
The 일사천리단 will hold regular meetings to develop policies and explore practical ways to expand job opportunities. Alongside this, a field support team made up of Busan City, the Korea Employment Agency for People with Disabilities, and business groups will provide consulting to companies looking to hire and institutions that have not yet met their mandatory employment quotas.
I see. Well, are there specific industries the city's targeting?
Actually, yes. Busan plans to focus on both emerging and regionally specialized sectors, such as AI and digital industries, as well as culture, tourism, and marine logistics.
Okay.
Areas that reflect Busan's economic strengths. The city is also launching a pilot program, the first local government in the country to do so, to create a specialized shared office space for self-employed and remote workers with disabilities.
I see. Well, I'm thinking this is more than just job placement then.
Exactly. It's about building an ecosystem, combining policy support, corporate participation, and infrastructure to help people with disabilities fully utilize their skills and participate more actively.
Yes. Well, thanks for letting us know about this one. All right, next up, Busan is expanding a popular cultural program for young people. So what's changing this year?
Busan is scaling up its Busan Youth 10,000 won plus Culture Pass, a program that has received strong responses from young residents. The initiative allows people to pay just 10,000 won to enjoy culture events worth up to 110,000 won.
Ooh, so this sounds like a really good deal. What's new this time?
This year, the program is expanding beyond performances to include exhibitions as well, giving participants more options to choose from. It's also strengthened connections with major local events like the Busan Fireworks Festival and Rock Festivals, while adding region-specific content such as the Busan International Magic Festival.
Ooh, so who can apply? I mean, how does this kind of work?
Applicants must be Busan residents aged 18 to 39 as of the application date. To ensure more choice, the city will release passes in 2 rounds through the Dong-seok application. 7,500 people can apply for the 100,000 won pass on the 28th and another 10,000 people for the 50,000 won pass on the 30th, both on the first come, first served base. Once selected, participants can book and attend one performance, exhibition, or local festival recommended by the city.
All right. And finally, Busan is launching a new book sharing initiative this month. So what is this about?
Busan City is rolling out its Happy Book Sharing project for 2026, aimed at encouraging reading while supporting local bookstores. Under the program, residents can bring books published after January 1st, 2024 to participating bookstores and receive vouchers worth 50% of the book's price.
Yes, and how can those vouchers be used?
The vouchers can be used when purchasing books at the same bookstore. However, items like textbooks, workbooks, reference materials, dictionaries, periodicals, foreign books, high-priced books over 30,000 won, and damaged copies are excluded from the program.
I see. And what happens to the books that are collected then?
Those books are donated again to community spaces spaces such as small libraries and outdoor reading areas so they can continue to be shared with other people.
I see. Well, thank you for going over all the local news. Wishing you a great first hour of rest. Rest up because we'll see you in hour number 2.
I'll see you then.
Everybody, this was Gian. I'll be back with your traffic and weather. It's now 7:18. Here's your traffic report. The roads have opened back up on the Naesung underpass after a ground sinking episode that shut down the road over the weekend. So we wanted to give you an update on that first. Next up, Dong-seok overpass is backed up from Pyeongnaekgo ramp to Kaegum. It's also congested on Jungangdaero from Sojangcheon intersection to Pugok intersection. And the top portion of that Gwangan Bridge is slow right now. It's currently 13 degrees Celsius here in Busan under partially cloudy skies. It's going to go up to 18 degrees. Light rain forecast starting later on this morning, so you might want to pack a small umbrella. Across the nation, rain with thunder and lightning and even hail. Yes, ubak. In some parts, with the skies clearing up by evening. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
How was your weekend?
It was pretty good, pretty good. I had a great run along the cherry blossoms. So yeah, I enjoyed spring.
Yes, yes. Well, did you sleep in?
Yes.
What is sleeping in?
I know. What is really
What is
even
that?
sleeping in? Can we even do that? 9 on. I try to wake up by 9-ish on Sundays because I do have to start writing my scripts. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
at least it's like working hours at 9. And then I'm a napper though. I will wake up at a reasonable hour, but I will squeeze in power naps that get dragged on to like an hour, 2-hour long naps.
Really?
Yeah, I had a massive one.
Naps are so good. I swear by naps. I went on a very mini trip like over the weekend and then like, okay, so spent the night Saturday, not in my home. And I was thinking, I am going to sleep in this time. I really am. And you know, when you're not at home, you're like, thinking, okay, so I woke up and I thought it was like 9 or 10.
Well, it was
6:30.
I mean, 6:30 is
It's
sleeping in
late.
for you.
Yeah, that's sleeping
late
late. So
for
I was
you.
like, okay, so anyhow, so let's jump into top stories. We're going to talk about the ongoing efforts to save energy with the war in the Middle East showing no signs of letting up anytime soon. The presidential office said that it is seeking further incentives, or they're seeking to further incentivize people to drive less.
Right, and we will talk about how not easing up the war is in a bit, but let's
Yes.
come to the domestic side of things, which is all about energy. So reminder, the 2-day rotation, so alternate odd, even day, no drive or driving system for public institutions will be implemented starting this Wednesday. That's
Okay.
the 8th. Private companies, not mandatory, but highly encouraged to partake in the 5-day rotation, no driving system. So to that end, 청와대 spokesperson 전은수 said that the number of people who have been taking public transportation has been spiking with the steep rise in fuel prices. And also the presidential senior secretary for economic affairs, Ha Jung-kyung, he convened an emergency meeting to work on measures to stagger demand for public transportation.
Okay.
Because if you've been on subways or buses, I've definitely noticed it is hard to get seats because I usually am able to,
Yes.
but it is crowded.
Right.
Basically, it's the same problem because people want to sit. People want to be in a subway that's not so crowded.
Right.
Measures to spread out the number of people who are taking buses and or subways so they're not all crammed right now during rush hour.
That's right. So what would that take, though?
Right. So Ton said that the public sector will implement staggered commuting hours,
Okay.
aka flexible working hours, meaning if you are able to, not all offices will start at 9 a.m.
Okay.
But 청와대 said it is not considering putting restrictions on seniors' free rides to ease crowdedness, which was kind of a controversial issue from a couple weeks back.
That's right. And it seems that the private sector is also looking to participate in this flexible working system.
Right. So 6 major business associations. So we're talking about the Federation of Korean Industries, the Korea Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Korea Federation of SMEs, the Korea Enterprises Federation, Korea International Trade Association, and the Federation of Middle Market Enterprises of Korea. They issued a joint statement on Friday saying that they will participate in this nationwide effort to save energy. So what does that include for them? The groups will encourage their member corporations, ranging from large to small, mid-size, and businesses to utilize, again, this staggered commuting. So in Korean, that's 시차 출퇴근제, and other forms of flexible working hours, including remote or hybrid work, to help ease crowdedness on public transportation and on the roads.
Yes.
Companies will also increase energy efficiency. So that'll include minimizing electricity usage, for manufacturing firms really streamlining their power usage, but also for offices to turn off their computers and lights during lunch hour or right after work, or kind of putting, dimming the lights in parking lots and other structures.
Yes, we can all do our part. So thanks for that. All right. We need to get some updates from, on the local elections front. The opposition party, People Power Party, PPP, is torn over the Daegu mayoral race, and the court just handed down a ruling over one of the potential candidates' injunction.
Right, so this is one of the hot spots right now. So People Power Party or PPP lawmaker Chu Ho-young, he was previously eliminated from the party's preliminary, or right now it's pre-preliminary race for Daegu's mayor candidacy.
Right.
He filed an injunction, meaning kind of a stop and desist order for the court to essentially bring him back or cancel that decision. The court said no. So that is the latest. The Seoul Nambu Regional Court on Friday turned down this injunction request.
Yes.
And the court said that the process of a party election nomination is this very high-leveled political decision. Therefore, requires stronger guarantee of autonomy and independence in party activities compared to things like disciplinary action. Basically, the parties have more leeway in making their own choices.
Yes.
That one also cannot nullify the decision just because that decision seemed unfair.
I see. Well, how have the two sides responded to this?
Right, so Chu Ho-young immediately issued a statement expressing his regrets, saying that this ruling opens the party or any parties to do basically whatever it wants in this nomination process.
Okay.
He stated that he will carefully read through the verdict and decide on his next moves. As for the party, the PPP said that the preliminary races will go on without Chu Ho-young. And also we do have to bring in another person, the former Korea Communications Commission Chief Lee Jin-suk, who also are kind of running for the seat, with the 6 people that are still running, at least according to the party.
Okay.
But the biggest political question, so that was the legal aspect. Now it's politics, is whether Chu or Lee will run as independents.
I see.
무소속. Because they both have alluded to running as independents, and even over the weekend, they've conducted activities that appear to be campaign activities.
I see.
For Lee Jin-suk's case, that was more blatant. She was actually full out wearing plaques and saying that she is running. As for the PPP, it said that they trust Chu won't run as an independent for, quote, the love of the party. But if he does, that they will respond appropriately.
Oh, okay. Well, we shall see what happens. An interesting story, of course. We're going to continue to follow. All right, up next, the number of South Koreans studying abroad has hit quite the low.
Right, so we're talking about 유학생, but Koreans who are studying abroad.
Right.
Of course, this goes back to the pandemic. That changed quite a bit about just the education overall, but including study abroad. So according to data from the Education Ministry, the number of Korean international students who are studying in overseas university or other higher education institutes, that's been cut by half.
Oh.
That's been halved compared to the pre-pandemic times.
Okay.
Specifically, this data comes from April of 2025, so last year. There were 129,000 South Koreans studying in overseas higher education institutes.
Okay.
This is a huge decline. So the peak was in the 2010s. 2011, we had 262,000 studying abroad. Just before the pandemic, it was always in the 200,000 range.
I see.
But now we're at 129,000. So let's divide this up by countries. The most popular country destination was still the United States. That accounted for pretty much exactly a third,
Yes.
followed by Australia at 12.7%, Japan 11.2%, China 8.2%, Canada, very similar, 8.1%, Germany 5.6%, and France 3.3%.
Okay, so
Right. So there's an interesting pattern, though, involving China, especially. It has seen a consistent decline in international students, Koreans studying there in the past 3 years, but a huge jump in Australia by over 5 points.
I see. Interesting statistics there. What accounts for such a big decline in the number of students studying abroad?
Well, first of all, money. Because, I mean, even just for the United States,
Yes.
if you are studying abroad as an international student, that tuition is very high, plus
Yes.
the cost of living. Of course, during the pandemic, there was kind of a physical barrier to you being unable to cross borders, and that was just hard.
Right.
But after the pandemic, other challenges, the economy factor, not just tuition, but since then there have been multiple wars.
Right.
Russia, Ukraine, Gaza, and now Iran. These all hit major energy hotspots, raising overall inflation. Also, the popular destinations, US, UK, they've been tightening their visa regulations.
Sure.
For instance, the UK and Canada, they're both looking to cut down on their international students pool. And of course, the US with immigration crackdowns instilling fear.
That's true. All right. So that's why the numbers have dropped. And now we're going to go to the war in Iran. First, about the F-15 jet that was shot down and the dramatic rescue mission.
Right. I mean, I've seen references to Black Hawk Down,
Yes.
Saving Private Ryan. A frantic search and rescue operation was underway after U.S. F-15E Strike Eagle fighter jet was shot down over the southern part of Iran. So Iranian state media reported that this shoot down was a result of attacks by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC.
Yes.
And one airman, the pilot, was almost immediately rescued, but that left another American crew member missing.
That's right. And now we have a better idea of how that operation went down, right?
Right, and this was a tense 2-day mission as the U.S. and Iran raced to find this missing person. Because if this crew member had been captured by Iran and a potential hostage situation would have
Right.
unfolded, that would have been disastrous. So U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed the rescue on social media on Sunday morning, and he said the U.S. military pulled off one of the most daring search and rescue operations in its history. And, you know, of course, President Trump has a favoritism for theatrics, but that aside, wartime rescue operations are said to be the most challenging of any military operation.
Right.
So by Trump's account, dozens of U.S. aircrafts were dispatched for this rescue mission. Exact circumstances will never be known because that's how military operations happen. But one person who's familiar with this operation described it as a huge combat search and rescue mission in southern Iran. And officials said that this particular airman spent more than 24 hours on his own, armed with just one gun. And that involves, he was ejected from the aircraft.
Right.
That alone puts so much pressure on your body. He's apparently minorly injured. He had to hide his parachute, hide away, and send out search SOS signals. So, yeah.
It's a movie. In the
It
making,
is.
I'm sure.
I'm sure we'll get one
yes.
soon.
Well, President Trump reminded Iran of the timeline that he had set for the regime.
Right, because on March 27, Trump gave Iran 10 days to open the Strait of Hormuz. But then he's also extended that timeline too from Monday to Tuesday local time. But in the latest, he has issued a message that we've really never seen from a U.S. president before. So I'm going to just read it and redact it.
Okay.
Quote, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day all wrapped up in one in Iran, meaning he will attack, or the U.S. will attack civilian infrastructure.
Okay.
There will be nothing like it. Open the expletive strait, you crazy expletives, or you'll be living in expletive. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump.
Okay, well,
That's it. What can we add to it?
Yeah, can't. Well, there are apparently reports that Iran may be utilizing children in the war.
Right. And I do want to talk about the casualties because, yes, we talked about that one U.S. airman, but civilians, children, and people who are more vulnerable are always the biggest victims in any war. So there are reports of severe harm being done to children, with reports of even child soldiers in Iran and killing of hundreds of minors.
Yes.
Of course, the war began with a U.S. bombing of a school that killed at least 160 children and teachers.
That's right. But now there are even reports of potential child soldiers once again.
Right. So the Revolutionary Guard is reportedly using children as young as 12 to guard security checkpoints. According to a report, an 11-year-old Iranian boy had already reportedly been killed in an airstrike while he was guarding a security checkpoint. So the Human Rights Watch released a report at the end of last month saying that the Revolutionary Guard was conducting this recruitment campaign for children to volunteer as homeland defending combatants. And this enlists civilians who are as young as 12. Again, children. And the poster for the recruitment features a boy and a girl alongside two adults. And by the way, it is a war crime to recruit and use children who are under 15 years of age in war.
Yes. So that's just the latest. And of course, we'll have an interview with our professor in hour number 2 about this further. But thank you for all the top stories. And of course, we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to take a song break. So here is 개화 by Lucy.
하루하루 바지랑이 끼는 이부시고 포근해진 얼음은 겨우 녹아내릴 것만 같아 동지서 딸기나 긴 밤 지나 헤매었던 발걸음 있잖아 그때가 기억조차 안 나 새하얗게 웃던 나를 기억하나요 그때 내가 느낀 모든 걸 너에게 줄 수 있다면 바람아 내게 봄을 데려와줘 시간아 나의 봄에 스며들어 점점 더 소리 없이 일렁이며 떨고 있는 초라한 맘은 흐르는 물에 연꽃처럼 전부 멀어져 갈 거야 넌 그저 그 자리에 그대로 새하얗게 웃던 나를 기억하나요 그대 내가 느낀 모든 걸 너에게 줄 수 있다면 바람아 내게 봄을 데려와줘 시간아 나의 봄에 스며들어 점점 더 햇살에 깜빡깜빡 미끄러지듯이 우린 사르르르 기지개 피듯 두 팔 벌린 꽃들처럼 그대 꿈보내 너 아무것도 할 수 없을 것 같은 그 맘 혼자만 남아 시들지는 않을까 괜찮아 언젠가 다르게 피어날 거야 나는 그런 널 기억할 거야
right, it's time for a profile check. That means Busan is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm doing pretty well. A little tired, but how was your weekend? What did you do?
I did absolutely nothing.
Did you sleep in? That's our text topic. If you do.
No, I didn't.
No?
You
You wake up at the same time? Which is what time?
Between 6:30 and 7.
Pretty early.
Yeah, I just wake up. Even if
Naturally.
I try to, I turn off. I
Yes.
turn off all my alarms.
Yes.
Still wake up.
Yeah.
At that
It's a I call it an occupational hazard. It's like our body rhythm, circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
I'm so used to waking up at a certain hour. It's tough sometimes though.
Yeah.
My my little tiny like 소원 dream is to sleep until like 10. That would be like fantastic for me, but just can't do it.
Even if I come back
Yeah.
from whatever I've done with my friends at 2 or 3 in the morning, I'll still wake up at 6:30.
At the same time, right. We're just getting older, I guess. Well, anyhow, we're going to jump into profile check. Who do you have for us today?
We're looking at 3 men.
Oh, 3 men.
3 men, 3 wise men who started in one place, but they didn't stay there.
Okay.
So 3 Asian figures who are making waves or making news globally right now. Jung-hoo, Dong-seok, and Simu Liu.
Oh, okay. So the latter 2 are actors,
Yes.
but the first is an athlete, right?
Athlete.
Okay. So let's start with the athlete.
The athlete. So he was born in 1998 in South Korea into a baseball family. Those who are of my age or around my age will know his dad. Lee Jong-bom. So he's one of the biggest names in Korean baseball history. So from the beginning, expectations were high with his son.
I'm
Do you
sure
remember
that.
him?
No.
No.
I'm sorry. Well, I just wasn't I'm not a baseball fan.
Okay.
And I know that, his father is a legend, but plus I wasn't in Korea while I guess he was having his heyday. So
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I don't want to lie and say I know him. I
So
don't. Yes.
let's say he was really good. Not a home run hitter, but they called him the Korean Ichiro.
Oh.
So always good at stealing bases, always good at those base hits, getting players in. Very, very good. And his son's nickname was 바람난 아들.
바람난 아들. Oh my gosh, what are we saying on morning in Korean? What is it? 바람의 아들.
바람의 아들.
Oh, okay.
Not what I said.
Not that. So different. The meaning-
Anyway, son of the wind.
Yes.
I was trying.
Yeah, no. But
So-
I'm thinking though, if your father
Yeah.
is in the same profession as you,
Yes.
or you're in the same profession as your father or mother or whatever, your parent,
Yeah.
the expectations, I'm sure, can be kind of high.
Yes.
Yes.
We have a little idiom for that. Big shoes to fill. Lots of ones, but I chose
Right.
this one. Big shoes to fill.
So what does that mean? Big shoes to fill, if you could explain.
That means he had small feet and needed to put in big shoes.
큰 기대를 짊어지다. Because you think, especially with parents, that
Yeah.
they're older than you, they're kind of bigger figures than you.
Yeah.
Right. So we talk about the big shoes to fill, right?
Yes, big expectations. Yeah.
So do you think that he has been successful thus far in terms of kind of stepping out of his father's shadow? Because tell us a little bit about Jung-hoo, though.
So
Yes.
his reputation was one of the most consistent hitters in the league as well. So just like his dad.
Yes.
So when he got into the major league, his dad went over there, and I just remember the Korean cameras weren't on him; they were on his dad. They had it on both of them, especially when he
Yes.
got his first hit, and
I'm
his
sure.
dad's proud face was there.
Yeah, the reaction.
But yeah, he is one of the regulars now. He's not in and out of the squad. So he's bats between. He's done opening, but usually 6 to 9. Today he's batting, or yesterday he batted at 6 with the San Francisco Giants. So
Yes,
he's
yes.
into his 3rd year, and as of opening day, he was the only South Korean player on an MLB roster. on opening day. Now there
Right.
are 2 or 3 others, the pitchers and whatever. And also there's one in the Dodgers, but the Dodgers have so many weapons.
Oh my gosh. I mean, their lineup.
Yeah, I hate
And then
them.
even those
I
that
hate
didn't make the
them.
lineup. It's like, oh.
Their
yes.
B lineup could be a team.
Yes. Why are you hating on my team? The only team I follow. So anyhow, yes. So in terms of him, so
Yes.
we talked about big shoes to fill. 'Cause
He's
obviously-
definitely filled them.
Yes, because of his dad. All right, so let's move on to our second figure. Who is this?
Ma Dong-seok.
Oh.
Did I pronounce that correct?
Yeah, you
Correctly.
did. Yes.
Don Lee, to all those foreigners out there who know him with a different name, he had a different path.
Yes.
So he moved to the United States as a teenager.
That's right.
And he worked as a PT, a personal trainer, and he even trained MMA fighters.
Right.
He didn't start acting until late in his life, which 30s.
That's late though, considering how
Yeah.
early everybody jumps into the
Yes.
acting.
You usually go to school
industry.
when you're in your teens
Right.
and then go to university and acting school.
Sure.
But no, he didn't start acting until 30s, which makes his fame even more amazing. So the movie that made him famous was one of my favorite love stories, Train to Busan.
Love story.
Oh, it's a love story. It's a big love story.
Okay. Zombie love story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I got emotional a couple of times in there. It
was a good film. Yeah.
very great story. So so he became one of Korea's most recognizable actors after that one.
Yes.
Not just because of his build,
His physical prowess.
but during the movie he showed us emotional depth as well in the film.
So, why are we talking about him? Why is he in the news?
Because he's working on many things. He's
okay.
Doing a major Netflix action film set in the
Okay.
Extraction universe. I don't know if you've seen the Extraction series.
Expression.
No, okay. Continue his Roundup series.
That one I know.
And even projects in Hollywood and, obviously more in Hollywood and India.
India.
Yeah, in Bollywood. So he's
Really? In
he's no
India?
longer just a Korean star. He's
Okay.
a global action figure.
Okay.
And going along with all the different projects he's involved in, my idiom for him today is stand out from the crowd.
Which is in Korean, stand out from the crowd. I'll do the English. I want you to read the Korean.
Not me. 눈에 띄다?
눈에 띄다. Very good, very good. Oh.
That sounds like
being noticeably different. right?
That sounds like 사투리.
No,
띄다.
눈에 띄다. Not that kind of.
띄다.
No. 아 뜨거. No. So 눈에 띄다 means no. She's giving me the look. Right. So he actually does stand out from the crowd.
Yes, he
when we
does.
think of movie stars.
Yes.
He's not the typical, I'm sure many people think he's amazingly good looking, but he's not your typical handsome
guy, yeah.
Yeah, and even with his buffness, he's really big.
He's
Right.
actually known for, among his colleagues, his acting colleagues, for being very gentle and polite. So after a fighting scene,
Yes.
when he's probably hit you a couple of times, accidentally or on purpose,
Yes.
he goes, "Oh, sorry, you okay?"
Aw, so he's a softie, we
Yeah,
say,
he
right?
apologizes after action scenes. And also when they're trying to punch him or they punch him, they really don't want to, but he said, just hit me.
Okay.
So he's a big softie.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And that probably makes him, I guess, more lovable.
Even more.
Yeah, by the audience for people who really like him, right?
Definitively.
All right, so let's move on to our final profile, which is...
Simu Liu.
Oh, okay.
So his journey starts in China, but he grew up in Canada. So before he got into acting, he was an accountant, as I'm sure most of you knew. His stable, traditional career.
I was going to say, that's such a typical,
Asian.
Asian, no.
Not being racist.
No. When you, I can say, I emigrated to the States, and or to North America, it's like your parents, your immigrant parents want you to have a stable job.
Yeah,
That's
so
a thing,
doctor,
right?
Accountant, or lawyer.
Yes.
Those are the three.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so he got one of them. He got accountant, and his parents, loved it.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, well done.
Oh, our son, the CPA or
Yeah, can
accountant
you
or
imagine him
whatever.
at church?
Right.
Oh, my son's an accountant.
But obviously, I guess it wasn't his thing. Right?
No, he didn't enjoy it. And eventually he got fired from his job.
Oh, no.
And the reason he got fired was he took so many days off to go audition or go work as an extra somewhere. Yep. So on this particular day that he was fired, he was an extra on Pacific Rim.
Oh, I remember that film.
Yeah, so about robots and
Yeah.
whatever,
It's kind of an action, not great film.
Yeah, so he was an extra on that, and that's why he got fired. So before we want to carry on, I want to say a couple of things.
Okay.
I read a story last year to my son when I read to him. Don't do it anymore. He's a big boy. Anyway, there was a quote in that book. It said, it was a fisherman. He said, "I am an artist, but fishing is my job."
Oh.
Yeah.
I am an artist.
Yeah. But fishing is my job. So he was a fisherman, but
by trade, right?
By trade, but when he got home, he painted such beautiful pictures.
I love that though.
Yeah. So,
sometimes, if you're lucky though,
yes,
your passion and your job align. Sometimes, I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for other people, it's like they have their passion, but to make ends meet,
yes,
you have to take on other jobs or another job, right?
Yeah. So my quote is, "Do what you have to do, so you can do what you want to do."
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's it's not original. I didn't make it up.
Okay.
I got it from a motivational speaker. You can look it up. But yeah, so that's what Simu was trying to do. He was trying to work as an accountant so he could become an actor.
Okay.
But obviously, one of them got canned. So he had to go into it all in. He had to go all in and to be an actor. And he's done it.
Right.
So he took a leap of faith and he successfully did it.
And the thing is this, sometimes you just, need that push. Sometimes life gives you a push.
Yeah.
In a nudge in a certain direction.
Correct.
And then you got to go with it. But apparently he was able to do that, right?
Yeah.
So why is he in the news?
He was in the news because he's preparing for the Avengers Doomsday. I think I'm allowed to say that.
Right.
I just saw in the news they've delayed the release of the movie to later on in the year. It was meant to be around summer. I think they've delayed it to later. Maybe somebody leaked the story or something. So
I don't know.
They often do that. So yes, so he's in the new Avengers film.
So hence, once again, we're talking about him. So what's your idiom for him? Because you're like, that's...
I kind of, before I said, take a leap of faith.
Okay.
Is his idiom. So he was, as you said, life gave him a little push to take that leap, but he still had to take it. He still had a choice. Shall I do this or shall I?
He could have gone and gotten another, accounting job,
gone
right?
back and said, 죄송합니다. 돌부치. He's Chinese.
모험을 감사하고도 he went for his dream, pursued his dream, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So, how would you tie this in? The three famous figures, right? Hence, we're profiling them.
Yes.
They're in the news currently. So, is there a common thread?
I have a sentence for each one of them. So, Jung-hoo shows us how to carry a legacy.
Oh, carry a legacy. Okay,
from his father on. Dong-seok shows us how to stand out by being different. And Simu Liu shows us the power of taking a risk.
Oh, I like this.
Yes.
Great for a Monday because sometimes we need that. We need that push. We need that push on a Monday morning because sometimes we do want to go back to bed, but you can't. You got to push forward.
Yes,
move
you
on,
do.
Right?
Do what you have to do, so you can do what you want to do.
All right. Well, we are going to call it a wrap for today's segment for Profile Check. But thank you for bringing us three meaningful figures and, of course, their stories as well.
You're welcome.
We'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Vasana.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get to some of your responses today. Our text topic is this. Once again, if you're joining us a little late, is what constitutes sleeping in for you? What time? So whether you have a traditional schedule, for example, you work Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sundays are your day off, or it could be completely different. Maybe you take off on Monday and Tuesday and you work from Tuesday through Sunday. Whatever your schedule is on the day that you have off, what time do you sleep until? As Gian mentioned in the morning, some people, they sleep all morning, going into the afternoon, catching up on much needed rest and sleep. For others, like Vasana and for me as well, and I think Haley too, we have a certain rhythm going, right? Our circadian biorhythms going. And we tend to, or at least I'll speak for myself, I can't speak on their behalf. I definitely tend to wake up around the same time. So if I'm not on a trip, normally at home on the weekend, my eyes, they just naturally open. I think the latest at by 4:30, I'm up. And then what do? I go to the kitchen, I make some, start making some panchan for the week. And then I get really tired again right around 9. I think that's because that's when morning wave ends. And right around 9, I get really sleepy, and then I take a short nap again. So anyhow, more is coming in hour number 2, including our special interview, plus our regular corners. So I hope you continue to stay tuned. In the meantime, here is this song, Say You'll Be There by the Spice Girls. So enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
But now we're going round in
특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Welcome to Busan. Let me show you around. Here you can find the world's largest musical in-ground fountain and the world's only UN memorial cemetery. Stroll along the coast and explore the largest mountain fortress in Korea. As well as all this, there are so many tourist attractions, beautiful exhibitions, vibrant culture, convenient facilities, and delicious foods unique to Busan. With all the beauty and charm of the amazing city of Busan, you'll find yourself right at home in this ever-changing tourism paradise. So stay with us a while. Busan, your #1 tourist destination. Your home, away from home. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어 방송.
여러분은 영어 왜 배우시나요? 영어 드라마를 자막 없이 보기 위해? 아니면 해외여행지에서 현지인과 자유롭게 대화하기 위해? 더 넓은 세계와 연결되고 싶은 여러분만의 영어 여정이 있으신가요? 영어를 배우게 된 계기부터 나만의 영어 공부 팁을 BFM에서 함께 나눠보세요. 영어가 내 삶을 어떻게 바꿔놓았는지 그 특별한 이야기를 들려줄 주인공은 바로 당신입니다. 부산 시민이라면 누구나 참여 가능. 자세한 사항은 부산 영어방송 홈페이지에서 확인하세요.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, everybody. It's 8 o'clock. This is Spotlight News. President says extra budget won't burden local treasury. President Lee Jae-myung has rejected claims that the government's cash handouts to 70% of the population earmarked in the supplementary budget would increase the financial burden on local governments. He on social media yesterday refuted a media report that said local governments would be potentially financially strained as they would shoulder 20 to 30% of the 6.14 trillion won cash assistance program. He said the central government will give 9.7 trillion won in regional grants to help bolster local funding for the program, adding that local governments may opt out of the program if they do not wish to cover their share. Global banks raise South Korea's inflation outlook. Major global investment banks have raised their inflation outlooks for South Korea by an average of 2.4%, citing risks and uncertainties from the Middle East crisis. According to the Korea Center for International Finance yesterday, the average inflation forecast for this year by 8 major overseas investment banks rose to 2.4% as of the end of March. While prices remain relatively stable through March, analysts expect rising global oil prices to feed into inflation after 3 to 6 months. South Korea restarts operation of Kori-2 nuclear reactor. South Korea restarted the Kori-2 reactor in Busan on Saturday, 3 years after the suspension for safety checks and facility improvement, according to the country's nuclear reactor operator. The operator, the Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power Corporation, won permission last November to restart the nuclear reactor after its 40-year permission expired in April 2023. So the KHNP, the Korea Hydro Nuclear Power Corporation, said in a statement that the continued operation of such nuclear power plants is crucial to secure the country's energy security amidst energy uncertainties. Seoul cites differing circumstances after Japan-linked vessels pass Horu무즈. The foreign ministry said yesterday that the ships stranded in the Strait of Horu무즈 and their associated countries face differing circumstances after 2 Japan-linked vessels passed through the vital waterway. The ministry comments came after 2 Japan-related gas tankers passed through the shipping lane, along with several vessels linked with China. Thailand and France have also passed through the strait. The ministry said it is working with relevant countries to ensure freedom of navigation in the strait. 26 South Korean vessels with 173 sailors remain stranded since late February. Iran opens Strait of Hormuz to select ships. Trump ramps up threats. Iran appears to have begun selectively allowing certain ships, including those carrying humanitarian and essential goods, as well as Iraqi ships, to pass the Strait of Hormuz, as U.S. President Donald Trump wrote an expletive-laden post threatening Iran to reopen the strait. Iran's Qatam al-Anbiya joint military rejected President Trump's demand to open the strait within 48 hours, calling the threat a helpless and stupid action. President Trump, in his social media post, threatened to target civilian infrastructure like power plants and bridges if Iran doesn't open the strait by Tuesday. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for a special interview on this Monday morning. As tensions between United States, Israel, and Iran continue to escalate, the situation in the region is becoming increasingly complex and difficult to predict. In recent weeks, we have seen a series of major developments, including U.S. strikes on key infrastructure in Iran, retaliatory actions across the region, and growing concerns about the possibility of a wider conflict. And at the same time, rising oil prices and disruptions to critical shipping routes are adding a global economic dimension to the crisis. So in today's interview, we're going to take a step back to better understand the overall situation, what these latest developments mean, and how the conflict could evolve in the coming weeks. Joining us once again is Professor William Muck, professor and chair of the Political Science Department, coordinator for the college's Global Studies program, and co-host of the podcast, The Politics Lab. Welcome back, Professor.
Always so good to be here with you.
Yes. To begin, if you could briefly walk us through the current situation in Iran and how the war has evolved in the recent weeks.
Well, I think what we've seen is a slow escalation, and the conflict has become more intense as time has gone by. And I think we're at a really, really unique moment now. It feels like we're at one of those sort of hinge moments where it can go one way or the other. And so conflict has played out for weeks, and that can escalate or continue to escalate, or we could see a shift towards de-escalation and diplomacy. And I think we're at this moment, we're not entirely sure which direction we're going to go. I will say, when you step back and take a big picture look at the conflict, the United States has won won militarily. There's no question about that. The U.S. military has been dominant. The bigger question is will Iran win strategically? Because now as we look at the conflict, we see that the United States is increasingly frustrated with, the fact that it's not moving forward more quickly. And Iran feels to be that it's in a pretty good strategic position right now. So I think we're balancing sort of military victories with long-term strategic victories.
Yes, thanks for giving us a broad overview of what's been happening. With President Trump, he's been suggesting that regime change in Iran may already be underway or even achieved. But from your perspective, Professor, how accurate is this assessment? And what would regime change actually mean in this context?
This is such an important question because we get to this concept of regime change. When we talk about regime, we're talking about the type of regime. Are they a democracy? Are they a monarchy? Are they a autocracy, right? That's really what we're talking about. And so there have been individuals in the Iranian regime who've been killed and removed, but the nature of the regime is the same. So Iran is an autocratic theocracy, and they continue to be so. And in fact, they may actually be a more hardened regime than they were before. So Trump is talking about removing specific individuals, killing the Ayatollah, but the nature of the regime is the same. And I don't think unless you fundamentally remove that regime and bring democracy or something else than that, we're not anywhere near a regime change. So it sounds good when the president says that, but on the ground, we haven't seen anything like regime change yet.
Yes. And President Trump has also warned Iran. Initially, it was it has 48 hours leading up to around April 6th now. I think it's been extended by a day. Anyhow, sometime soon to meet U.S. demands or face severe consequences. So I want to talk about this deadline and its significance because there have been a few deadlines thrown around and then always these extensions. So, how hard do you think this deadline is, and what could happen if Iran doesn't respond?
It's so hard to know because you're absolutely right to say that President Trump has continued to extend those deadlines. Now, we know that Donald Trump's foreign policy is often dependent upon his mood. And so more recently in the U.S., the criticism has been that he's chickening out, that he's not willing to follow through on his promises. So that could prompt him to say, well, this last warning is the real warning. Now, the danger in all of that is I think Donald Trump likes to do foreign policy by threatening, by bullying, by, intense rhetoric, but that doesn't tend to be effective when those who you're trying to bully and intimidate are sort of facing an existential crisis. So it doesn't matter to the Iranian regime what Donald Trump says. Their goal is simply to survive. So, the bullying and all that isn't necessarily going to have the same impact that it might on a partner that you're interacting with. So I think he's increasingly frustrated that this sort of belligerent isn't working, but I think there's good reason why it hasn't.
Yes. And in terms of other entities, we're talking about international allies, regional partners. How do you view their response thus far? Because obviously not getting on board with Donald Trump, with President Trump, it has angered him, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I think he's increasingly frustrated that others aren't coming to the aid. But when we think about how this happened, in previous U.S. military operations, the president built a coalition beforehand, whether we're talking about the Iraq wars or Afghanistan.
Right.
You built that team before going into conflict. Now what's happening is Trump is asking for help after the fact. And if you are a head of a state of another country around the world and you look at this, you want nothing to do with this because militarily it's a quagmire. It's really, really complicated. And politically, it's toxic. So the president, I think, is very, very frustrated. He's lashed out at NATO allies in Asia and as well. But you totally understand why they have zero interest in getting involved. Because, again, if you are a leader of one of these countries, this is really, really complicated. And I think there's also, behind the scenes, tons of frustration.
Yes.
Right? The phrase you're hearing going around is saying, Trump is saying, I broke it, you fix it. And I think there's a lot of countries around the world that are frustrated with U.S. leadership and U.S. credibility on this. And so I think they're staying back in a way that is making, the job of the United States that much more difficult.
Right. And if we look at the strikes recently, at first, obviously trying to avoid infrastructure, but increasingly, it does seem like, infrastructure is being targeted. What does this suggest about the current military strategy of the U.S. and its allies?
I think a couple things. One, I think there's a realization that hitting these military targets isn't bringing about the desired result. At the end of the day, as you were mentioning, regime change is sort of the foundational goal, especially of Israel, but probably of the United States as well. And hitting those military targets hasn't brought about that change. So the transition is to hitting more infrastructure. Now, we should be very, very clear. Going after civilian infrastructure is a war crime. If you're hitting, water plants or highways, even dual use things, that drifts very quickly into war crime territory. So the president is threatening all of these things. I'm curious to see whether he follows through with it. Now, maybe he does, but I think that puts the conflict in an entirely different and much, much more dangerous place, because if the United States engages in that conduct, I think Iran will respond in kind to allies in the region, right? So I think that's when things spiral in a really, really dangerous direction.
And of course, the most recent news that we've seen, of course, the dramatic, the F-15 fighter jet pilot, that story as well. And then we've heard about, troops being sent, but are we going to actually see boots on the ground, do you think, or do you think that he's holding off for now?
This is, I think, the fundamental question. I think President Trump does not want troops on the ground. And I think it's also very clear Republicans in the United States do not want troops on the ground. But what if history has taught us anything is that these conflicts tend to pull you in.
Yes.
You mentioned the rescue operation, right? That was boots on the ground. And you have to do that. So once you start in one of these conflicts, things happen that force you to expand.
Yes.
And it's really difficult to avoid that. So I think politically they realize boots on the ground is toxic, but they may reach a point where the military necessity is such that they engage in that. And then again, they get pulled deeper and deeper into this conflict. This feels very much like, Iraq or Vietnam. I think that's the danger of a conflict like this, where there's no easy off-ramps or exit strategies. And that oftentimes leads to boots on the ground.
Indeed, indeed. And for a final question, you mentioned this term, which I'm going to borrow, a hinge moment. So it does seem like we're at this moment where it could, go towards de-escalation. On the flip side, it could intensify. So I know I'm going to put you in a tough position, but how do you see things evolving?
Well, it's such an important question, because I think we're at a moment where I think the president wants to do everything he can to get out, right? He wants to get out. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is the nature of the conflict, the politics, the fear of looking weak are going to pull the United States in. And the other thing is, even if you were to say militarily, we're going to wrap this up in 2 or 3 weeks, the economics and the sort of diplomatic and political stuff is going to linger much, much longer. The Strait of Hormuz, the conflict, the economic impact of that, it could be potentially devastating, right? You're hearing some economists talk about having the same kind of impact as COVID had on the global economy. So, those are things that tend to keep actors involved. So I think the United States will be there longer than Donald Trump would like.
Yes, indeed. Well, of course, we're going to continue to follow the biggest story internationally right now. But thank you so much for offering your insight and expertise on this matter. Wishing you the very best. Take care, Professor.
Thanks so much for having me.
This was Professor William Muck once again. We're talking about what's happening in Iran and whether this is a hinge moment and where that leads us. We're going to have to wait and see. This was our special interview for Monday morning. And I'll be back with your updated traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan. Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your update on traffic. First up, let's talk about this cargo truck, which is broken down on Gangmyeon-dae로 from Daedepo to Ulsuk-do in that direction, right at Ulsuk-do-daegyo intersection. There is an accident on Garak-dae로 going towards the Let's Run Park right before the Bongnim underpass. It's congested on Mandok-dae로 from Sukdeung to Deokjeon intersection, and it's slow on Gaya-dae로 from Jure Station to Daegum Station. Currently, it is 15 degrees here in Busan. partially cloudy skies, with a daytime high expected to go up to 18 today. Light rain is forecast for this afternoon, so you might want to have a small umbrella on you. Across the nation, rain with thunder and lightning, and yes, in some areas, even hail, ubak. In some parts, the skies are expected to clear up by evening hours. This was your traffic and weather. And this is Right by Brown Eyed Soul.
했었던가요? 그댄 너무 예뻐요. 그냥 한번 해본 말이 아냐 정말이에요. 우리 둘이 어떤가요? 사랑일지 모르죠. 여름밤은 지나가도 그대까지 말아요. 나를 바라보는 시선에 걸음 멈춰버리고 그대 말 한마디 달콤한 미소로 나를 부르면 내 가슴에 가득 그대가 불어요. 나는 설레나봐요. Baby love me right. 바라보다 눈이 마주치는 순간에 아무 말 못하고 웃어버리죠.
It's time for Wagga Wagga Tea Time. Haley's back.
Hello, hello.
Oh, yes. So let's get a woggling. We get updates from a story we covered last week involving a franchise coffee owner who filed a complaint against a former employee for allegedly embezzling 3 drinks. And it wasn't like slightly over 10,000원, right? 12,000. Right,
800원, I think. Yeah.
So what happened?
Right. So a little bit of background if you missed it from last week. This whole story involved whether this worker, now former worker who quit, took 3 drinks after work and the owner filed charges for professional embezzlement. And then the drinks were going to be discarded. It's not like they took the customer's drinks. And then later, the 2 owners of the same franchise claimed that this worker gave away hundreds of drinks to her friends for free.
Okay.
Well, after controversy and public attention grew, including a region-wide survey, inspection by the Labor Ministry, that owner has withdrawn her complaint.
Oh.
Last week, we were kind of vague about the gender because we were just basing this on articles, but now there's a voice recording out. Both parties are women.
Okay.
The police investigation, though, it has to continue on because for embezzlement, authorities have to continue with the investigation and or press charges regardless of the will of the alleged victim.
Oh,
right.
Okay. But now I hear there's like another twist to the story.
Right. So again, number one, the second owner of this store that the worker was temporarily dispatched at, she's the one who lodged the embezzlement complaints and then withdrew them. Well, there's been reports that the first owner of the coffee shop that directly hired this worker accused her of stealing in ways of, again, giving hundreds of drinks for free and also charging or putting customers' points onto her card.
Right.
And the worker argued that she wound up paying the owner 5 million won in kind of a settlement so that the owner won't press charges.
Right. And now I guess there's proof of this.
Right. So in a recording released by a YouTuber, an individual who appears to be the owner basically yells at the employee, "I saw everything that you've done for the past year. I can look into your account and that's going to be an even bigger problem for you." And we, referring to the owners of this franchise coffee shop, we are going to now share information amongst all of us. So that means you won't be able to work in any of this franchise's coffee shop in the entire Chungcheong area. And this fairly long recording, it's, in terms of who was in the wrong, that's for the authorities to figure out.
Sure.
But the manner in which it was delivered, lots of yelling, lots of screaming. And the worker is heard as crying. You can see that she's in tears. And the owner also claims that the worker also has to be there, work until a new person is hired to fill her role.
Okay.
Otherwise, they can withhold wages, which is not true.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't do that, actually.
Wow. So there's just like so many facets and turns and twists to this story, but that's the latest. So thanks for the updates. Up next, though, an interesting theft was caught on camera in Seoul.
So we know this saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Right.
And sometimes maybe you walk by on garbage day and you're like, you're throwing that away? That's like a perfectly nice dresser.
Right.
But what about one man's trash bag is another woman's treasure?
Oh, a trash bag.
We go back to the trash bag, 종량제 봉투. It's that all over again. So this woman emptied out a bag of trash and just took the bag.
Oh, literally?
Just the bag? Just the bag. Yes, like physically, literally, whatever you want to call it. This whole incident was caught on CCTV because this is Korea.
Everywhere.
Right, and it's reported on JTBC. So this woman walks into a residential parking lot, the parking lot of a residential building on the afternoon of April 2nd. She's kind of looking around, make sure no one is around. She finds, in the corner of the parking lot, there's mounds of trash and recycling. Well, she finds a 종량제 봉투, the standardized trash bag in that pile of trash. She unties the bag, lifts it up, dumps the contents just literally onto the parking lot, folds that trash bag and walks out. So it is
Wow.
one trash bag. The person who reported this CCTV footage, and we're going to assume this person is either the proprietor or the manager because, well, that's how they probably got access.
Yes.
They said they're more upset about her dumping the trash out because, well, then in the wind, it got swept away.
Yes.
And it was all over the parking lot and the adjacent streets. So it made a whole mess of things.
Right. And, you know, I know people, they've been on the hunt for these trash bags. Like I mentioned earlier, I went to the supermarket and I had, you know, like a lot of groceries. So I was like, oh, can I get 2 bags? And she's like, no. And I was kind of like,
that was it?
At first I was kind of like, no. I was like, 네?
I know no is a full sentence.
I know, but still.
Where's the rest of that
yeah,
sentence?
and she was, 없어요. Like, but she was really like, I'm sure many people were asking.
I'm
so
sure they're
I understand.
sick of it.
Yeah.
But
I had legitimately like so much, you know, a lot of groceries.
Right.
So, and she's like, no, 없어요.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know what to say.
But I mean, this is so excessive.
It is,
you know, the
excessive.
trash.
I mean, if you're like, I don't even know. So one convenience store retailer reported a 325% increase between in the dates of March 22nd to the 26th, an increase in sales of these trash bags compared to the same period last year. So this is triple and then some. And we know you're probably all like on the hunt. And I've seen stories of like, because it's usually grocery stores will sell like 2 bags per person.
Yes.
So people will take like babies and be like, person. Although, to be fair, babies create the most trash.
Yeah, I think
especially
of all the dirty
diapers and stuff. So yeah, they got to be in charge of securing their own. So the thing is, this panic buying phenomenon, it's a perception. It's a bias because the government said that there's no problem with the supply and that's why they're not putting up any purchasing restrictions. But then why is your cashier saying no?
No,
Well, because there is kind of a gap between the material that's available, that material being processed into said trash bags, and then trash bags being delivered. So if a person, you know, bought up 10 of them and or however many of them, yes, it could be temporarily out. That was the whole thing with toilet paper in certain countries because toilet paper is bulky.
Yes.
They're only going to be able to put out 10 at a time on the shelves.
Sure.
And it seems like that one hole is just bigger left on the shelf, but there's more in the back.
Yes.
Also, I know that people are concerned about the prices because, you know, supply and demand. We all took Econ 101, whatever you remember from it.
Yes.
Because with the increase in demand, will they raise prices? Not for this year.
Okay.
So we can actually breathe a sigh of relief because these standardized trash bags, the prices are set in stone for that year.
Okay.
So negotiations are done every calendar year.
Yes.
So yeah, that's where things stand.
Okay, well, good luck, everybody. Those trash bags. All right, up next, let's talk about this typo that made its way to the top of the page on the New York Times. But you got to explain, what's a typo?
Typo is 오타.
Yes.
오탈자, right? You made a mistake, and we all did. You know, why is it that you check everything over and you click send on that email,
and then
you're like, oh, there's a typo
after you send it?
Oh, I sent it to the wrong person, or I spelled my name wrong.
Okay,
all right, fine. That's like a boo-boo with your boss. But what if it gets published on the New York Times? Yeah, right. It's like one of our biggest nightmares.
Right.
And it was a mistake made by the New York Times.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so if you're on our YouTube page, it's kind of like a 틀린 그림 찾기. Like, find the typo, find the mistake. I don't know what you win. Applause from us. But what do you see? Well, because this headline for our radio listener says, a North American treaty organization without America.
That's actually a big mistake, though.
That's a huge mistake.
Right.
Because,
did you guys find it?
All right.
3,
2, 1, time's up. Well, what does NATO stand for?
North Atlantic.
North Atlantic Treaty
Yes.
Organization. That article was published on April 3rd of 2026. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows what happened? The article was, of course, about threats by President Donald Trump to pull U.S. out of NATO.
Yes.
So the typo started circulating on social media, X specifically, from another industry person, Sasha Eisenberg from Politico, who posted this and wrote, does the New York Times know what NATO stands for?
Ouch.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm sure
probably.
they do.
So the New York Times acknowledged the mistake and then reposted this, and this is their statement. A correction will appear in tomorrow, April 4th's print edition. A headline with an article on Friday about President Trump's threats to leave NATO misstated the full name of the body. It is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, not the North American Treaty Organization.
But the thing is this, like if it was like a mistake, like a caption under like a photo,
Right.
or like, you know, something,
Or in the body of the article.
that's still bad. But it wasn't glaring, like it was the headline, it was huge.
Top of the page.
Yes.
You're right.
But it's already gone viral.
Right. So from simple ridicule, it's, you know, it's the New York Times. Like, it's not
Yeah.
this struggling, okay, all legacy media is struggling, but it's not this struggling local paper.
Right.
It is the New York Times.
Right.
Entertainment too, even disbelief and anger. Because this, consider that to the backdrop of kind of broader failures in mainstream media.
Sure.
Or at least what some people perceive this as. So some people are critiquing, can you trust an article that's written by someone who doesn't know what NATO stands for?
Right.
But also to the larger system of, well, what are the editors doing?
They're supposed to be
Because
editing.
usually in a paper that's in a publication that's as big as the Times, there aren't just editors, but there are copywriters. So actually, I'd hate to be that copywriter who missed that part, because the thing about copywriters, the whole part of their job is picking out these typos and the grammatical mistakes. President Trump, who famously not a fan of the New York Times, they have a whole adversarial relationship. He wrote on Truth Social also mocking this mistake, among other things, as, quote, very interesting.
All right. We all make mistakes, but hopefully not this big. Right. All right. Some people have nightmares about oversleeping. This is linked to our text topic, obviously, and missing work or going in late. And I guess there's like a particularly unfortunate case.
Right. Again, we've all woken up and felt weirdly refreshed. Like, all right, maybe I got a good night's. Oh no, why do I feel refreshed? And you look at the time and you're like, ooh, all right, I'm going to be late today.
Yes.
Imagine that being so publicized that people in South Korea are talking about you being late. And this happened in the US. So you sleep through the alarm when you're in the starting lineup for
gosh.
a Major League Baseball team, the MLB. This actually happened to one Mr. Carter Jensen, who plays for the Kansas City Royals. Thursday local time. He slept through his alarm. He didn't miss the game, though. But he did arrive late to warm-ups before the game. And then when he got there, he learned that his name scratched from the starting lineup.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's rough. He did make it into the game, entering as a catcher in the 9th, so the very last inning. The team wound up losing 5-1 to the Minnesota Twins.
Well, I'm curious. How did he react to this?
Well, by the way, to make things worse, he's a rookie. Yeah, so I mean, not that being late to work is ever fun, but you know, if this is your first year on the job, we have a couple of like our team members here who's kind of new here. Can you imagine if you woke up late and for the live show, right? And he's 22, so all things compounded. Well, he owned up to it, though.
Yes.
And this, if you are new, this is how you do things. He said, well, there's no running from it. He said he doesn't really have an excuse, nor should he. Yes. He said, I feel like I let my teammates and coaches down. I'm just going to learn from it, and I know it won't happen again. And if you own up to it, your bosses are going to be less angry at you.
Of course.
'Cause things happen. I'm sure they've slept in, too. So the team's manager said, that was his oversight on his part, but they know that Jensen's a stand-up guy. He's a great kid, and they're going to move on. And Jensen says he's going to set multiple alarms from now on.
So important.
Really important, because
Really
phones
important.
can fail.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, thank you for going over all the Woggly news. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
See you tomorrow.
All right, it's time for a little breather. How about this one? How Do You Sleep by Sam Smith.
I'm done hating myself for feeling. I'm done crying myself away. I gotta leave and start the healing. But when you move like that, I just wanna stay. What have I hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me? All that fear and all that pressure. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you? Love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you? Oh no, how did I manage to lose me? I am not this desperate, not this crazy. There's no way I'm stick around to find out. I won't lose like that, I won't lose myself. Look what I have done, dialing up the numbers on you. I don't want my heart to break, baby. How do you sleep when you lie to me? All that shame and all that danger. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight, baby. How do you sleep when you lie to me? All that fear and all that pressure. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you? Love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you? Oh, love will keep you up tonight, baby. How do you sleep when you lie to me? All that shame and all that danger. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight, baby. How do you sleep when you lie to me? All that fear and all that pressure. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you?
Welcome back, Wavers. Let's get to some of your responses to our text topic today at what time constitutes as sleeping in for you? We have Josh who says, morning, guys. For me, 7 a.m. as usual. So I'm assuming you wake up at 7 on weekdays as well or non-work days. So it's pretty much the same schedule for you. And let's see. We have another message from 백 과장님 who says he wakes up at 6 p.m. on weekends as well. Meaning, I mentioned earlier that I kind of wake up early on weekends, but 6 a.m. Yes. Oh, is it 6 p.m.? I don't know. 그냥 I wake up at 6. 근데 as well까지 했으니까 I was talking about like I wake up at 6 a.m. So I'm going to assume you meant in the morning. That's awfully early, but I guess you like to keep your, the same schedule and be very productive. 고수님 says 평일 4시, 새벽 4시. 저랑 스케줄이 굉장히 비슷하다. He mentioned it. 주말에는 6 a.m. 새벽 6시에 기상합니다. 늦잠 자고 나면 더 컨디션이 안 좋아요. 일의 리듬에 맞춰져 있나 봐요. So yes, his biorhythm, circadian clock, whatever you want to call it, it's all based on his work schedule. So hence, waking up 4 a.m. weekdays, 6 a.m. on the weekends. All right. Well, thank you for your responses. Let's get to news in depth. It's now time for News in Depth. We have Jian in the studio. Let's say hi. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I don't know why. It's like I get so confused. It's been how many months with his name, but anyhow, we're gonna dive into some interesting stories, and the first one is this one: growing concerns over inflation and a potential global food crisis. So let's talk about the drivers, the factors of this.
As the Middle East conflict continues to drag on, concerns are mounting over a possible global food shock. At the center of this issue is the Strait of Hormuz, which is a critical hub for both the production and transportation of fertilizers. Roughly 1/3 of global seaborne fertilizer shipments pass through this route. And experts warn that if the strait were to be blocked or disrupted, disrupted for a prolonged period, fertilizer supplies would tighten significantly. That in turn would reduce global crop production, raising the risk of a widespread food crisis.
That's right. And this is already affecting South Korea as well, right?
Yes, that's right. We're already seeing direct impacts. Major global investment banks are now raising their inflation forecast for Korea across the board.
Right.
The OECD, for instance, has revised its 2026 inflation outlook for Korea up to 2.7%, marking a sharp increase of 0.9 percentage points. While consumer prices remain relatively stable through March, economists believe the real impact of higher oil prices from the Middle East will begin to surface more clearly in the coming months. In fact, the producer price index for industrial goods has already reached a record high, signaling growing upstream pressure.
That's right. So maybe you can walk us through some of the specific numbers.
Sure, of course. According to the Korea Rural Economic Institute, disruptions in fertilizer supply linked to a prolonged closure of the Strait of Hormuz are expected to push up global grain prices in the second quarter.
Okay.
The International Grain Futures Price Index, covering wheat, corn, soybeans, and rice, is projected to rise by 6.4% compared to the previous quarter based on market expectations.
So that is significant, 6.4%. What's behind that increase, though?
The main driver is the disruption in fertilizer supply. As fertilizer becomes more expensive and harder to secure, farmers are likely to reduce planting areas or switch to crops that require less fertilizer.
I see.
At the same time, rising global oil prices are increasing demand for biofuels, which rely on crops like corn and soybeans. This is adding further upward pressure on agriculture prices. Fertilizer prices themselves have surged sharply due to supply instability. In particular, nitrogen-based fertilizers are seeing steep increases.
Right, and as you were telling us all of this, relaying this, it does sound like a really serious issue in the supply chain, and it's a shock. It could be a shock. So how far could this impact go?
It could extend well beyond agriculture. Organizations like the Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, warn that prolonged increases in fertilizer and energy costs could disrupt global food supply chains and threaten food security. If major agriculture producers such as the United States, Brazil, or India reduce fertilizer usage, global crop yields could decline, pushing food prices even higher. There are already signs of this shift, with farmers adjusting planting strategies toward less fertilizer-intensive crops.
I see. Well, what's the overall outlook moving forward then?
The broader concern is that this is not a temporary shock, but the beginning of a sustained inflationary cycle driven by external factors.
Right.
If the conflict continues, Korea could face a combination of high energy prices, rising food costs, and currency weakness all at the same time.
Oh, no.
This so-called inflation storm could also increase pressure on the central bank to raise interest rates, which in turn may dampen domestic consumption and slow economic growth.
Right.
In short, while the situation remains manageable for now, the risks are building beneath the surface, and the real impact may only just be beginning.
Right. It does sound very gloomy, at least for now. All right, we're going to move on. We are going to take a closer look at what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. And as I mentioned in the news segment, Iran now appears to be selectively allowing certain ships through. So what's exactly happening?
That's right. Iran is signaling a more detailed and strategic approach to controlling access to the Strait of Hormuz. Rather than a complete shutdown, it is now indicating that passage will depend on each vessel's nationality and political alignment.
So how is Iran defining who gets to pass? Do we know?
In a recent statement, a senior Iranian military spokesperson described Iraq as a brother nation, explicitly saying that Iraqi vessels would be exempt from any restrictions imposed in the strait.
Okay.
He emphasized that these limitations are intended only for what Iran considers enemy states.
Sure.
This marks a shift from earlier, more ambiguous messaging. Previously, Iran had suggested that all ships not linked to hostile countries could pass, but without clearly defining the criteria.
Okay.
Now, by naming specific countries like Iraq, Iran is making its position more concrete and more political.
Right. So it does sound like a very, I guess, like targeted form of control. Are there any other exceptions?
Iran has also indicated that ships carrying humanitarian goods such as food, essential supplies, and animal feed will be allowed to pass, particularly if they're heading toward Iranian ports or operating within nearby waters like the Gulf of Oman. However, the key issue here is credibility and clarity. While these exemptions exist on paper, there is still uncertainty about how they will be implemented in practice. For example, it remains unclear whether Iraqi oil shipments are fully protected or if the exemption only applies to Iraqi-flagged vessels.
I see. So even with these exemptions, there's still hesitation in the market?
Exactly. Shipping companies are facing a difficult calculation. Even if exemptions technically exist, entering the strait still carries significant risk. Insurance costs have surged and operators remain cautious about sending vessels into a conflict zone where enforcement rules are unclear. It's also unclear whether ships already stranded in the Persian Gulf would be allowed to safely exit.
Indeed. Have there been any actual, cases of ships passing through?
Yes, there have been a few notable cases.
All right.
A European-linked container ship recently managed to pass through the strait, marking one of the first such transits since the situation escalated. Additionally, vessels associated with Japanese shipping companies have also reportedly navigated the route.
Okay.
However, these remain exceptions rather than the norm.
Okay.
The overall perception is still that the strait is effectively under partial blockade.
Okay, so we still need to know, though, what does this mean for the broader global economy?
The implications are significant. The Strait of Hormuz is a key global energy route, so even partial disruptions can shake markets. This is increasing volatility in energy and commodity prices and fueling broader inflation concerns. In short, the situation remains manageable for now, but risks are building beneath the surface, and the real impact may only just be beginning.
Once again, of course, the war is in the Middle East region, but affecting the entire world. So thank you so much for giving us the latest with our segment. And of course, we'll check in with you tomorrow. So thank you, Jian.
See you tomorrow.
It is time to almost say goodbye. So I was looking through all of your messages, and it seems that not all, but the majority of our waivers out there tend to keep a regular schedule on the weekend. But for certain people, yes, their significant other wakes them up. So I love the fact that you're all using the word room controller. That's a word now, apparently, amongst our listeners. So we're going to end it with this one. This is Sherry Lady by Modern Talking. So have a fantastic Monday. Bye, everybody.
Time it's the same. Oh, I feel that it's real. Take my heart. I've been lonely too long. Oh, I can't be so strong. Take the chance for a man. Take my heart. I need you so. There's no time I'll ever go. Sherry lady, going through emotion. Love is where you find it. Listen to your heart. Sherry lady, living in devotion. It's always like the first time. pain in my heart, got a love in my soul. Easy come, but I think easy go. I need me so. All the times I move so slow. Sherry, Sherry lady, going through emotion. Love is where you find it. Listen to your heart. Sherry, Sherry lady, living in devotion. It's always like the first time. Let me tell